Hello everyone. Today's video is going to be more on the cute side of things. I'm going to be taking adorable, funny animal photos from the internet and turning them into cartoons. Specifically, Disney Don Bluth style cartoons. There's going to be some 80s, 90s cartoon nostalgia baked into these drawings. There's going to be stylization, shading, solid construction, aimless panic over what I'm actually doing, the whole plate. Don't think I'm doing this for fun. Don't think I'm not enjoying this. You know what, just stop thinking. And let's get started. First off, we have this rabbit, which I found on Tumblr. He's like,
"Please, help, the water's coming in, this is more wetness than I would like in this moment, I'm in distress, help please."
And just for style reference, I'm going to take this random screenshot of a rabbit from Watership Down. The Secret of Nim, you know, the dark rabbit animation movie thing. We're drawing a rabbit. Also, I would like to point out that I literally went through the movie having no idea what exactly I was going to get, and I ended up getting a frame of a rabbit that was making the exact same expression as the rabbit in the picture. Rabbits in distress, the both of them. So I obviously didn't want to copy the frame exactly. I wanted to copy more from the original picture, so I tried matching the mouth shape, and also the fur patterns. And the pose, of course. I found that when you're referencing a real animal, it gives you a solid foundation so you can make unique design decisions while still being confident that what you're drawing will, indeed, end up looking like that animal. Of course, I made sure I got the ears right, and I also copied the fur patterns. I made sure the feet and hands weren't too large. I wanted to emphasize the smallness of this poor creature. I noticed that the rabbit's upper body had a lot of floof, so I gave the rabbit a thumper-style floof ball at the top. There's a lot of adjusting at this stage, and this is also where the panic I mentioned earlier sets in. It's like the moment when I'm the least sure of myself. I keep erasing and adjusting, but fortunately it tends to work out in the end, and this was no different. I copied the background because the water in the sink is crucial to the picture, but I didn't add a mirror because it would have been too much unnecessary detail. This is a cartoon, so we're keeping this simple. Also, I didn't feel like it. For the color, I wanted to capture the warm, yellowish vibe that I was getting from the image. The warm, artificial lighting really captures the feeling of being in a small indoor space. The water is just a desaturated blue with the opacity turned down so the other colors can show through. And this is where I added the shading. One thing I've started to do recently is start with completely covering the character in shadow, then airbrushing the light back in with a layer mask. I also use different sizes, starting with the large brush for the overall lighting, then using smaller ones for shadows and other lighting details. And after some adjustments, we are done. You'll notice that it didn't take me very long to make this drawing. That's because it was in time-lapse form and there are a whole bunch of cuts. I can't actually draw that fast, it's a trick. Also, I have a few years of drawing experience, which helps a little, you know. Anyway, cute fluffy cartoon rabbit in distress. Please, someone help him. Moving on to the next one, we have this delightful maiden in a dress. Very pretty. Who is she? She looks very polite. I think she's a gopher or a groundhog or something, but I'm not completely sure. Anyway, yeah, the drawing. So I didn't do the background this time, and I also didn't copy the pose, but I did draw a gopher-esque creature with a polka dot dress. I was able to get across the message of the piece in less time than the rabbit in the sink, which I think is pretty good in terms of efficiency. I noticed that the animal in the original picture has no visible ears, and I initially gave her big fluffy ears, but I ended up shrinking those down. Also, the classic Disney eyes. I think I've gotten pretty good at copying Disney, but that's all it is, copying. I also have my own unique non-Disney style, which is pretty distinct from Disney, but of course Disney was a big inspiration for me. Not that I have to say that, Disney has inspired literally everyone on Earth at this point. Anyway, I was worried that this drawing was going to be too different from the original, but once I started adding the polka dots, it all came together pretty quickly. Also, I added a whole bunch of unnecessary stuff to the background. I was successfully able to avoid adding my trademark glowy orbs, which I add to almost every single drawing, but not this one. We're safe from the orbs. For now. So yeah, here's the finished result. It's pretty good, but of course it doesn't have the humor factor that the original picture has. But that's not my job, that's the picture's job. I'm just here to turn these pictures into cartoons. Don't look at me. Also, looking at this drawing now, it's not really all that great, but I tried to draw it as quickly as possible. Think of this like a challenge video. Can I cartoonify this animal in 1 hour or less? Let's find out. The answer apparently is yeah, kind of. Alright, here's the final drawing for this video, a maniacal rat. He looks like he's up to no good, to say the least. This picture right here is what inspired me to do this video in the first place, because he immediately made me think about that one animated film about rats that I brought up earlier. You know, The Secret of Nim. Onto the drawing. So since this drawing was the reason I made this video, I put extra effort into it, but weirdly enough it ended up taking about the same amount of time as my other lower effort works. I guess it just goes to show you that when you take your time on an art piece, it ends up taking less time since you don't have to spend as much time cleaning up your scribbly mess. This rat was almost directly inspired by Jenner, the villain of Secret NIMH, who wants to keep stealing resources from the humans rather than moving to Thorn Valley. The rat I'm drawing has no such plan, he's just a generic evildoer. He looks like he could be the generic villain of an obscure direct-to-VHS movie that no one has seen. For the colors, I ended up giving him yellow eyes and a green irradiated mouth, just to spice things up a bit, since I usually give my characters red mouths, which tends to be the default for nature. I don't know what the background has going on, but whatever it is, I ended up more or less scrapping it and truly making this drawing my own. I felt like the blue background was holding back the potential for this drawing, which is fire. Yes, nothing says evil quite like fire, especially when it's everywhere and there's a red sky in the background, complete with a cackling villain with no sympathy to spare. One of the key principles of animation, or cartoons in general, is exaggeration, so I feel like visually representing the extent of this mischievous rat's true intentions was the right call for this image, even if it departs from the original quite a bit. I like making my drawings look like movie screenshots, so I actually fuzzed out the lines and added film grain to make it look authentic. I didn't have a specific decade in mind, but I think it could be late 80s, early 90s, that sort of thing. And here's the result. One thing I like to do is export the image as a low-quality JPEG to truly make it feel like a screenshot from a movie that doesn't exist. Of course, I still keep the high-quality version. So there you go, those are the 3 cartoon animals. These were all completed in the span of 1 hour. My favorite drawing is the maniacal rat, but if I'm being honest, my favorite image is the rabbit in the sink. I just like the rabbit's face. It's like desperate but polite concern.
Please help, the water's coming in. I would appreciate if you would come put the situation in control now if it's not too much trouble. Please, now.
But I have to give props to the groundhog in a dress, gopher or whatever she is. And of course, you can't beat the rat. Seriously, don't even try, this rodent is not to be crossed. So that's the video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. This was meant to be a fun video. I'm trying to start branching out from my usual content to make things for more general audiences. I feel like this could be the start of an annoyingly long-running series that marks the artistic decline of my channel. I can't wait for Turning Animals into Cartoons Part 20. But yeah, it was fun to make. I tried to be as genuine as possible during this. Not that it was hard or anything, I just knew this video could have easily been much more fake. But no, it's still me. Alright, I'm going now. Remember to stay cute, and goodbye.